I'm going to drop a hard truth on you right away. Most people think discipline is something you're born with or without. That's a convenient lie. Discipline isn't a trait, it's a skill. A set of actions you repeat until your future answers to your present choices. If you want to stop pretending and start winning, you need to hear this clearly. Comfort is the enemy, and repetition is your weapon. You're watching this because somewhere inside you, a voice keeps asking for more. That voice is hungry for direction, for muscle, for proof that you can do what you say you want. But words alone won't carve a new you. Words without a plan are wishes dressed up as excuses. So let's get surgical. Discipline begins the moment you stop negotiating with the easiest option. Think of willpower like a muscle. The stronger it gets, the more weight you can lift. But you don't start with heavy barbells. You start with the smallest movement and you build. Do one push-up. Make one healthy choice. Close one tab on your browser. Send that one message you've been putting off. That single motion is the seed. Every time you show up and do the small thing, you deposit faith into your future account. The balance compounds. Now, let's unmask a myth that's killing more potential than failure ever will. Discipline is punishment. People imagine some grim regimen, deprivation, and misery. That's false. Real discipline is the freedom to choose who you become. It's the freedom to refuse the immediate comfort that steals your future. Discipline lets you own your time, your energy, your attention. It's not a prison, it's a set of keys. You'll face internal resistance. It will sound polite. You deserve a break. You've earned this. One more episode won't hurt. That voice is the familiar enemy, cleverly dressed as reason. Its job is to keep things the same, because sameness is predictable. Your job is to make predictability boring and momentum irresistible. Here's a practical architecture for the beginning. Create tiny rules you can keep without drama. If you've never meditated, commit to 1 minute. If you hate exercise, commit to a 5-minute walk every morning. If your work habit is chaos, decide your first 30 minutes each day are for the single most important task. Tiny rules build identity. When you keep them again and again, you stop asking, "Can I?" and start answering, "I do." Identity is the secret currency. Most people chase results, a weight number, a title, a completed project, and think that changing those will change their identity. Flip the order. Act like the person you want to be. Make decisions from that identity. Want to be disciplined? Start saying, "I am the person who," and complete it with a simple action. I am the person who writes for 30 minutes before checking my phone. The brain loves consistency. Each aligned action reinforces the neural pathways that make the identity automatic. You will have days when discipline is easy. Celebrate them. But the real test comes on hard days, days when your energy is low and your excuses are loud. Those days define you. The powerful do not need motivation every day. They need systems that operate even when motivation quits. That's why design matters. Don't rely on hope. Design the environment to make the right choice simple and the wrong choice inconvenient. Put your phone in another room. Prepare your clothes the night before. Remove the snacks you sabotage yourself with. Small frictions on bad choices, small conveniences on good ones. Let's talk about discomfort, because discipline and comfort can't coexist in the same meaningful moment. Discomfort is the place where growth happens. Embrace the short-term sting because it pays a long-term dividend. Every time you choose the painful option, the cold shower, the hard conversation, the extra hour, you expand the boundary of what you consider possible. It's like stretching elastic. Each stretch makes the band a little longer. There's a compounding effect to repeated discomfort chosen on purpose. You need rituals, not rules. Rules sound rigid, rituals feel sacred. Rituals create a container for habit. A ritual is a predictable sequence that signals your brain we are doing the work now. 5 minutes of breath, 10 minutes of planning, 20 minutes of focused work. Turn these into non-negotiables. The mind resists new behaviors, but it loves routine. When your rituals are established, discipline becomes an autopilot that cleans up the chaos. Discipline has allies: clarity and urgency. Clarity is about knowing exactly what you're fighting for. If your goal is vague, your discipline will wobble. Define the specific outcome and the reason behind it, the why that keeps you anchored when the wind blows. Urgency is not panic, it's the sober acknowledgement that time is finite. Treat your days like limited currency. You don't need to be harsh with yourself, you need to be honest with time. Now, here's a tool that separates talkers from doers: the 5-minute rule. When you feel stuck, commit for 5 minutes. Often, starting is the hardest part. Once you begin, momentum kicks in. That 5-minute promise is a bridge you can always cross. If after 5 minutes you want to stop, you're allowed. But usually, you'll continue. That tiny commitment chips away at resistance. You'll also want to guard your identity against all-in extremes. Discipline isn't all or nothing. It's steady, unapologetic progress. If you fail, treat it as information, not indictment. Analyze what tripped you up, adjust the environment, and return faster than you left. The habit of immediate return, the ability to restart, is itself a powerful form of discipline. I want to give you a quick blueprint you can try right now. For the next 7 days, choose one domain: movement, focus, or learning. Create a ritual that takes no more than 10 minutes. Put a timer. Do it at the same time each day. Track it simply: a mark on a sticky note, no long explanations, no moralizing. Just a line for every day you show up. Watch what happens in 7 days. Your brain will start demanding the ritual, not resisting it. You might have heard echoes of thinkers who understood habit and character. Napoleon Hill reminded us that the mind shapes destiny. Such phrases aren't empty, they're a call to practice. Use these ideas like tools, not mantras. Borrow what helps, discard what distracts, and repeat what works. One final thing before I make you do something: be ruthless with priorities. Your attention is the raw material of discipline. If you scatter it on anything that glitters, you won't have enough for what matters. Learn to say no without drama. Protect your morning, protect your creative hours, protect the time when your will is strongest. Now here's your challenge. Pick that one tiny ritual and begin. Do it with intention and without fanfare. When the resistance comes, and it will, remember that resistance is a sign you are on the edge of growth. Each time you choose the hard thing, you rewire the person you will be. Every repetition is a vote for that future. Write in the comments what tiny ritual you will commit to for the next 7 days. Be specific. Tell me when you will do it and how you will track it. Your words make this real. Question for you: what one small action, repeated daily, would make the biggest difference in your next 30 days? And why? Part 2. Listen, discipline is not a punishment you endure, it's a declaration you make. You are not waiting for permission from motivation. You're building a fortress of choices, brick by brick. Today, I want to show you how small decisions made consistently become the architecture of your life. Every habit is a choice repeated until it becomes automatic. That repetition hides the miracle. Tiny actions, when stacked, produce massive results. Picture a single drop of water falling on a stone. One drop does nothing. 10,000 drops carve a canyon. That's your life when you allow tiny choices to accumulate. You don't need a heroic surge every day. You need consistent, smart, micro actions. Start with the most underrated power you have: the power of the immediate choice. At any moment, you can choose what to do next. That split second is a fork in your destiny. When you decide, without drama, without negotiating, to do the right small thing, you lay down a thread that gets woven into a habit. Make that decision repeatedly, and your future self inherits a new default. So how do you turn these short choices into a relentless machine for progress? First, make the right choice obvious. Don't leave the important things to memory. Design your environment. If you want to read, keep a book on your pillow. If you want to eat better, pre-cut vegetables and put them where you can see them. If you want to write, create a visible notebook and a pen beside your workspace. Visibility beats willpower. The brain follows the path of least resistance. If the right option is easiest to reach, it will be chosen more often. Second, scale the repetition with ritual. A ritual isn't grand, it's reliable. Wake, hydrate, sit for 5 minutes to set intentions, then choose one high-leverage task and begin. This sequence signals to your brain that now is work time. Rituals remove the argument you have with yourself. They convert debate into a predictable pattern. You remove a choice, and the resistance thins. You do because you always do. Third, use the 2-minute rule. When a habit feels intimidating, shrink it. 2 minutes of writing, 2 minutes of focused study, 2 minutes of cleaning. The goal isn't to finish something, it's to start and to show up. Starting is the most powerful action because it proves to your brain that you can. Once the body moves, the mind often follows. The 2-minute rule is a trapdoor for your procrastination. Step through it, and you rarely step back. Next, guard your attention like a fortress. Modern life is designed to steal it. Every notification, every ping is a tiny theft. Discipline isn't just about choosing hard things, it's about protecting the resource that allows you to choose at all. Mark blocks of uninterrupted time for deep work. Tell people you're unavailable. Use a timer and respect it. The more you control your attention, the more your choices will reflect your highest goals instead of someone else's agenda. There's another layer few talk about: the inner narrative. What you tell yourself about your actions shapes how you repeat them. If you think, "I'm trying," you give yourself permission to fail. If you say, "I am the person who," you align identity with action. Replace "I'll do this" with "I do this." Identity-based phrasing is like programming your autopilot. It reduces the friction between choice and action. You must also understand the chemistry of reward. Humans repeat behaviors that provide reward signals. That's why immediate gratification can outcompete long-term goals. To win this, attach small, immediate rewards to disciplined actions. Finish your focused work session and take a short walk. Complete your workout and enjoy a hot shower. Rewards don't have to be big. They only need to be timely and consistent. Over time, the habit itself begins to carry reward because you feel the internal satisfaction of progress. Use checkpoints, not guilt trips. Review the week with curiosity, not condemnation. Ask, what worked? What didn't? What friction snuck into the system and why? Tracking isn't about perfection, it's about clarity. A week of honest marks beats a year of vague intentions. Keep it simple. A tally, a short note, a habit tracker. This creates accountability to yourself, and accountability breeds consistency. There will be setbacks. Discipline is not a straight line. Your mood, your energy, and your circumstances will vary. What defines progress is your return speed, how quickly you come back to the ritual after slipping. Don't dramatize failure, normalize the reset. When you fall off the path, treat it like a training session. Analyze, adjust, and start again. The only unforgivable move is staying down because pride or shame kept you there. Now, let's leverage the subconscious. The brain runs on patterns. Repetition moves behaviors from conscious effort to subconscious routine. That's why environment and ritual matter so much. They are the scaffolding that teaches your subconscious what to accept as normal. Use triggers that cue the right behavior. A specific song to start work, a distinct chair for reading, a particular mug for writing. These cues become anchors. Over time, the subconscious will initiate the behavior before your conscious mind debates it. You might have heard a line from Napoleon Hill. Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. Don't treat that as a slogan. Treat it as an operating principle. Your belief systems govern what you attempt. If you believe small attempts are meaningless, you won't start. If you believe the tiny repetition matters, you'll pick the small action and build. Believe the process, the results will follow. Discipline also needs boundaries. Saying no is a muscle you must strengthen. Every yes to a distraction is a no to your highest priorities. Practice declining politely and firmly. Protect the hours when your will is strongest. Resist the cultural glamorization of being busy. Busyness is not the same as progress. Measure your days by meaningful outputs, not by how full your calendar is. One strategy you can implement now. Choose one value and translate it into a daily ritual. If your value is clarity, write a single sentence each morning about the day's most important outcome. If your value is strength, do 10 push-ups before you eat. If your value is learning, read one page of a tough book in the evening. Keep it tiny but sacred. Do it regardless of mood. The value anchors the ritual and keeps it purposeful. Finally, recognize that discipline is deeply personal. Your system must fit your life, not the other way around. If you build a brittle regimen that depends on perfect conditions, it will break. Build a flexible, forgiving architecture that defaults to action. Choices that survive in your life are those that are simple, repeatable, and tied to identity. Here's a sharp action I want you to take right now. Write down the one ritual you commit to for the next 21 days. Make it specific: when, where, how long, and how you'll track it. Post it in the comments with confidence. Committing publicly increases your likelihood to follow through. Write in the comments what tiny decision you will make every day that aligns with the person you want to become. Tell us the exact time and the trigger you'll use. Question for you: which small daily choice, if kept without fail, would rewrite your next year? And what will you do to make it so automatic that you stop thinking about it? Let's get brutally honest for a moment. You don't lose because you're weak. You lose because you let your mind negotiate away the hard things. Procrastination, hesitation, endless scrolling. These aren't accidents. They are the mind's clever defense mechanisms to avoid discomfort. But here's the truth. Growth is discomfort. And every time you dodge it, you rob your future self of strength. Discipline lives in the space between what you feel like doing and what you've decided to do. That gap is where most people quit. But if you can hold the line, if you can act despite the urge to retreat, you separate yourself from the masses. It doesn't have to be heroic, it has to be consistent. Consistency outperforms intensity. Anyone can sprint for a day. Few can walk with purpose every single day. Think about procrastination. It feels safe, doesn't it? Delay promises relief. You tell yourself, I'll do it later. But later rarely comes. And when it does, the task is heavier because it's now soaked in guilt. Procrastination is a liar. It disguises itself as a break, but really, it's a thief. It steals your momentum, your confidence, your self-respect. You don't need more time. You need to stop negotiating and move. Here's the formula. Action kills fear. Always. Fear thrives in imagination, not in execution. When you take a step, even a tiny one, fear loses oxygen. That's why decisive people seem fearless. They aren't without fear, they simply act faster than fear can paralyze them. Discipline is the habit of moving first. Train yourself to do before you think it to death. Now let's talk about discomfort. Most people treat discomfort as an alarm, something to escape. But for the disciplined, discomfort is a compass. If it's hard, it probably matters. The gym burns because it's building muscle. Speaking in public shakes you because it's building confidence. Waking early feels brutal because it's building ownership of your time. What you call pain, discipline calls progress. Shift your interpretation and you'll crave the sting because it means you're alive and expanding. There's a simple practice I want you to try. The one hard thing rule. Every day, pick one thing you resist most. The call you don't want to make, the workout you don't want to start, the email you dread writing. Do it first. That small act teaches your brain that resistance is not a stop sign. It's a green light. Once you prove you can do the hardest thing, the rest of the day feels lighter. Small steps matter more than you think. People underestimate the compounding effect of action. Imagine stacking bricks every day. One day feels like nothing, but after a month, you have a wall. After a year, a fortress. That's what your disciplined choices do. They build structures you can live inside. Stop dismissing small actions. Small actions are the only kind that exist. Big achievements are just small actions repeated without excuse. Identity again becomes central here. If you label yourself lazy or undisciplined, your brain will look for proof to confirm it. But if you declare, I am a person of action, and then back it up with one small move, you start rewiring your identity. Don't wait for massive evidence. Identity shifts with micro actions. If you write one line, you're a writer. If you run 1 mile, you're a runner. Stop disqualifying yourself because the action isn't big enough. The identity is born the moment you act. And remember, the environment can make or break you. If you surround yourself with people who normalize excuses, you'll inherit their standards. But if you stay close to those who execute, who move without whining, you'll rise to meet their example. Earl Nightingale once said that you become what you think about most of the time. I'll add this, you also become who you spend time with most of the time. Choose carefully. Here's a method you can apply today, the 5-second decision. The moment you feel hesitation, count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and move. Don't think, don't argue, just move. This short circuit bypasses procrastination's script and launches you into action. Discipline doesn't wait for perfect conditions, it creates momentum in imperfect ones. Now, let's pull this together. Discipline is not about beating yourself up. It's about respecting yourself enough to act even when it's inconvenient. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you build trust with the only person who matters in the end, you. That trust is the real reward. It feels like pride, like momentum, like certainty, and it's addictive. So here's what I want you to do now. Choose your one hard thing for today. Don't overthink it. What's the single action you've been putting off the most? Write it down. Then, before this day ends, do it. Don't wait for inspiration. Don't wait for comfort. Do it because you said you would. Write in the comments what your one hard thing is and when you're going to do it. Put it out there. Make it public. That declaration matters. Question for you. If you committed to doing just one uncomfortable action every single day for the next 90 days, what area of your life would transform the most, and are you ready to face it head on? Here's the shift you've been waiting for. Discipline is no longer just about fighting battles with yourself. It's about building systems so you don't need to fight as often. Think of it like this. A soldier relies on willpower to push through one battle, but a general designs strategies and supply lines that make victory inevitable. You don't want to be a soldier forever. You want to be the general of your life. Willpower is powerful, but it's limited. If you try to power through everything by raw force, you'll burn out. That's why you need systems. Systems are routines, environments, and frameworks that carry you forward even when your mood is low. When you're disciplined about your system, the system disciplines you back. You become free to focus on creating, leading, and moving forward instead of constantly wrestling with resistance. So, what does this look like in practice? Start with rhythm. Rhythm means you don't ask yourself whether you'll do something, you already know when and how you'll do it. Athletes train at the same time every day. Writers sit down at the same hour. Successful entrepreneurs review numbers on schedule. Rhythm beats intensity. It's not about how hard you work once, it's about how predictably you work always. Next comes automation. Automate what doesn't require creativity. Automate your meals if nutrition is a struggle. Automate your savings if money discipline is a weakness. Automate reminders for routines until they become instinct. Free your mind from trivial decisions so your energy can be spent on meaningful battles. Every decision you remove is fuel saved for your highest goals. Then comes the idea of flow. Flow is the state where effort feels like ease, where time dissolves because you're absorbed. Many people think flow is random, but it's not. Flow is built on discipline. You earn flow by eliminating distractions, setting a clear target, and giving yourself uninterrupted time. Flow is discipline's reward. Once you're in it, work feels natural, even joyful. Imagine stacking hours of flow each week. The compounding effect would change your career, your body, your relationships. This is where we tie discipline to every area of life. In business, discipline means sticking to the system that grows revenue, not chasing every shiny trend. In your career, discipline means mastering your craft long after others get bored. In relationships, discipline is showing up consistently with honesty and presence even when it's inconvenient. People think charisma is natural, but often charisma is the byproduct of disciplined self-respect. When you trust yourself, others trust you. Confidence doesn't come from words in the mirror, it comes from evidence. Evidence that you keep your word, that you do what you said you'd do. Each act of discipline builds a bank account of self-respect. Over time, that balance grows into authority. Authority isn't demanded, it's felt. People sense it in your presence. That's why discipline quietly fuels leadership. Leaders are not the loudest, they are the ones who live aligned with their standards day after day. Let me give you a practical blueprint. Build a system with 3 pillars: clarity, execution, review. Clarity. Write down exactly what matters most each week. Execution. Block the time and do the work. No negotiation. Review. Once a week, reflect. What worked? What failed? What will you adjust? This cycle doesn't require genius. It requires consistency. Do it long enough and you'll outperform people with more talent but less structure. Here's a mental model to keep you sharp. Systems over goals. Goals are useful for direction, but systems are what make progress inevitable. Let's say your goal is to write a book. The system is writing 500 words each day, at the same time, in the same environment. The book is inevitable if the system is honored. Relying on a goal without a system is like hoping to win a race without training. Hope is not a strategy. Systems are. Now, let's deal with a hidden trap. People think discipline is rigidity, that you must never bend. But rigidity breaks. True discipline is flexible. If you miss your workout time, you don't quit, you adjust. If your plan falls apart, you pivot without self-punishment. Flexibility keeps the system alive. Rigidity creates fragility. Discipline is about staying on the path, not punishing yourself for stepping off the curb. At this stage, discipline becomes identity expressed through design. You're not forcing yourself anymore. You're aligning your environment to your values. You stop relying on inspiration and start relying on infrastructure. That's what separates professionals from amateurs in any field. The amateur works when they feel like it. The professional works because the system makes it non-negotiable. And here's a truth most won't admit. Freedom comes through discipline, not the absence of it. When you know your bills are automated, your health rituals are set, your work time is protected, you're free. Free to think, to create, to explore. Chaos doesn't give freedom, it gives anxiety. Discipline gives freedom because it gives you control. So I challenge you now, build one system this week. Choose an area of your life where you keep relying on willpower and replace it with structure. Maybe it's morning focus time. Maybe it's your workout routine. Maybe it's preparing meals. Whatever it is, design it once, then honor it daily. Stop reinventing your life every morning. Decide once, repeat forever. Write in the comments what system you're going to build and how it will make your life simpler, stronger, and freer. Be specific. Clarity is power. Question for you. If you could design one system today that would completely change how disciplined you feel a year from now, what system would you build and what's stopping you from starting it now? Part 5. This is where everything comes together. Discipline stops being just a practice and becomes a way of living. It's no longer about checking boxes or proving something to yourself. It's about embodying the person you always said you wanted to be. Discipline becomes identity, and identity shapes destiny. Let's start with the long-term picture. What happens if you live with discipline for years, not just weeks? The first effect is self-respect. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you're casting a vote for a stronger identity. Over time, those votes accumulate into unshakable confidence. You won't need to fake self-belief. It will radiate from you because you've earned it. That's the kind of quiet power people notice when you walk into a room. The second effect is freedom. Most people think discipline traps you, but the truth is the opposite. Undisciplined people are slaves to moods, impulses, and distractions. Disciplined people are free to choose what matters because they are not controlled by passing urges. You don't wake up wondering what to do. You already know, and that clarity saves you from decision fatigue and wasted energy. The third effect is resilience. Life will hit you. You'll face failures, losses, betrayals. Without discipline, those moments break people. With discipline, you bend, but you don't break. Why? Because you've trained yourself to do the work regardless of circumstance. You've built rituals, systems, and standards that don't collapse under pressure. That's why discipline is the foundation of true strength. It prepares you for storms long before they arrive. Now, balance. Discipline doesn't mean living like a machine. It means structuring your life so you have the energy, clarity, and space to live fully. Balance is not about avoiding hard work. It's about integrating recovery, learning, relationships, and joy into your rhythm. When you master discipline, you don't just grind harder, you live smarter. You rest with purpose, you connect deeply, you grow endlessly. That's sustainable power. Let's talk leadership. People follow disciplined individuals not because they shout the loudest, but because they live what they preach. Your actions create credibility. Your consistency builds trust. Charisma without discipline is a spark that burns out. Charisma with discipline is a fire that lights up others for years. Leadership begins with self-mastery, and self-mastery is the ultimate fruit of discipline. Growth never stops. Dale Carnegie once said that the person who stops learning is old, whether at 20 or 80. Discipline ensures you never stop. You keep reading, training, experimenting, adjusting. You refuse to coast. You live in motion. That's why disciplined people keep evolving, because they've trained their will to chase growth instead of comfort. And then comes legacy. At the end of your life, people won't remember what you intended to do. They'll remember what you repeatedly did. Your rituals, your habits, your standards. That's the model of life you hand to your children, your friends, your community. Discipline writes the story of who you became, and that story inspires others long after you're gone. So what does this mean for you right now? It means stop waiting for perfect timing. Stop waiting for inspiration. Stop waiting for someone else to push you. Decide that discipline is who you are. Build rituals. Protect your attention. Do one hard thing daily. Create systems that support you, and then live inside the structure you built until it becomes your second nature. There's one final challenge I'll leave you with. Look 1 year ahead. Imagine the person you will be if you live with daily discipline from this moment. How will you stand? How will you speak? What will you have built? How will you feel about yourself? Hold that vision. Now ask, are you willing to pay the price today for that freedom later? Because that price is nothing more than disciplined choices repeated until they become identity. Write in the comments who you will become when you take control of your will. Don't just write goals, write identity. Share the version of you that discipline is going to unlock. Question for you: if discipline became effortless for you starting today, what dream would you finally chase without hesitation? And why haven't you started yet? And if this message hit you, if you felt the fire, then hit that subscribe button, drop a like, and share this with someone who needs it. Because discipline isn't just for you, it's contagious. The more of us who live it, the stronger we all become.